It's my great pleasure to welcome you all here today to Kathleen's 93rd birthday.
Hello, my family and all my friends. Thank you so much. And my lovely birthday cake, Lynette. I'm so kind of you.
Press me to your heart. It's in a world of roses. And when you speak, angels sing love. Every word seems to turn to love songs. Give your heart and soul to me. And life will always be loving on the road.
So it's been 93 very full years for Kathleen. I'm just going to share with you some of what I see and what some of you have told me in the last few days as some of her defining features. So first, Kath is optimistic in the face of adversity. She's been through so many situations in her life that have required this optimism. Depression, war, immigration, illness, just to name a few.
I was born in the head gardener's cottage for Lord Talmash at Petherton Castle in England. That's where I was born, in the gardens. The cottage was in the gardens, as it was in those days.
Yeah.
The castle itself was 1.25 miles away. So that's where I think it might come from, the love of the gardens. Yeah, so ever since then, if I could have had a garden, which I've not always been able to, because Peter was a chef and he was always on the move. For a job here and a job there, including overseas and in France. We had to live in apartments. And what if I could have had, at any time, a little bit of ground, I would have planted something in it. That's how I felt. Always had to plant something. Yeah.
Kath is passionate about cooking and gardening. As you can see here, she's spread that passion to her children, grandchildren and friends beyond that.
He loves the garden, quite a few of them. And Francois turned to gardening. Richard loves his garden, Francois does. Emile does. Quite a few of them now beginning to think more seriously about gardening. I think with what we read about food and one thing or another. And so they don't get it from me, it's their own thoughts.
They come round to it. Yeah.
Come round to it, yes. Francois was the first one to be born here. Emile was born in London 2 weeks before we set sail. And nobody knew I'd got him, and at least the P&O line didn't, so I hid him in a bag and got on the boat. And it was found out when I was in the Bay of Biscay. They couldn't do anything with me then, or the babies. But he was a stowaway. I wasn't, well, we made up our minds to come, and I was going to miss that boat because of the baby.
Just a new baby.
Yeah, new baby, 2 weeks old he was.
I'd just like to share a quick little story about my grandma. So Grandma came and visited me with my Aunt Jane last year. She was 92 at the time. In Canberra, that's right. So I introduced her to my flatmate at the time and I said, "This is my grandma, she's 93. And she said, "Bloody hell, I'm not." So I said to Grandma, "Grandma, what's it like being 92? And she said, "Well, dear, on the inside, I'm 17.
They do, but you know, I felt that my generation missed out on a lot because of the depression. It was shocking. It's unbelievable now if I try to talk about it. And then the war took the youth out of Peter and myself. 19 when war broke out. The end of the war, we were still on rations when we left in 1953. Oh, and we're still in the doldrums. And talk about a few asylum seekers here. There's thousands, I think, came into Britain from Europe. And then, of course, when you get here, you've got to start again. It's such a different country to ours. And Christmas was in the middle of flaming summer. I couldn't having a Christmas pudding on the beach, you know, in the sand. I thought that's not Christmas. So they had to come to terms with that. Spring was autumn, autumn was spring, and Peter couldn't get a job. And so we battled along with kiddies too.
Kath is devoted to her family and welcoming to all. As you can see here today, she has a very large and beautiful family and friends, and she always welcomes into her home all sorts of people. Just as one example of her devotion, you will all know that she donated her kidney to her son when she was in her 70s. Kath is also very open to new ideas. She's constantly thinking about new things. The cliche about losing your marbles as we get older is completely untrue when it comes to Grandma. She once said to me, "Dear, your grandfather's losing his marbles, but don't worry, I'm picking them up." Grandma's passion for new ideas can be seen in her vegetarianism, which was very new in the 1930s, her passion for French food, environmental protection, multiculturalism, just to name a few. Finally,
Yes, well, I have my emailing and Google and this and that, but that's as far as I want to go. I have too many other things to do. I've no time to sit. What I like's a garden. When I've had enough of the computer, I say, "Oh, the hell, I'm off out," you see, and I go in the garden where the time's my own. I've got a little chair in the greenhouse, and I can sit in there, and I've got a book there. I have a book in the toilet, a book beside my bed, and another one on the table that I can always pick up and read something. Not so much the gardening, although it's only vegetables. I'm fascinated in growing vegetables and fruit for myself and my friends and my family. I think it's going to become more important than it's ever been before that we grow our own. And when I think of my grandfather's head gardener in Petton Castle there in Cheshire, he had 23 gardeners, and he was the head gardener. 23 gardeners looking after their gardens. They were immaculate. I remember his lord, as we called him, his lordship, would come down and have a look at 10 o'clock on certain mornings of the week, you know. But there were, and a lot of glass. He had a lot of glass. Greenhouses. He grew bananas in the north of England. Yes. Yes. His lordship had a big greenhouse built for him to grow bananas, peaches, grapes, the whole lot. Yeah. Everything. And they were grown without the pesticides and all. That's why there were so many gardeners, because there was no Roundup.
Yeah.
He had to round up his gardeners, you could say that, to do some of the jobs that always needed doing in the garden. But today, get out, squirt it, spray it. Yes, and I don't use any chemicals whatsoever in the garden at home, and I'm producing, in the winter time, the cauliflower, leeks and beetroot and cabbages and fennel and all sorts of things. That, more than I can eat. The same as one of my sons, he's got a garden. He said, I go out with a basket. There's far more food, but he said I can't always give it away. It's so much easier for people to go down the road and get it out of the supermarket all clean. Oh.
So without any further ado, I'd like to hand over to the birthday girl herself. Hopefully she will share some of her secrets of longevity with us.
I think Hannah said just about it all. But you wanted me to say about my mother years ago, when she came to stay with me when all my brood was at home. And she got up with me one morning at 6 o'clock and she said, Kathleen, how many people were sleeping here last night? I said, I wouldn't have a clue. She said, well, I've been round and counted them, 17. I said, oh God, really? Who are they? Turned up. I don't think their front door was ever locked. And it isn't locked, as Sarge will tell you, even now, my front door is not locked, so people walk in. And they're welcome. And I listen to their stories.
And beware if you're a burglar trying to get into my grandmother's house, because once one did try and get up. And what did you do, Grandma?
He did. Well, I sleep on the ground level, and the door was, the window was open a little bit. I was reading my book at 11 o'clock at night, and I saw a leg coming to the bedroom. And I thought, and then this bloke pulled the curtain aside. And he was going to get into my bed. I said, hey, listen, mate, you can bugger off. I'm not having you here. Well, you never know what intention he had, do you? That was it, wasn't it?
Well, I think you can see from just those few stories that she's a woman with great tenacity and a very warm and welcoming heart. So thank you all again for coming. It's a very special day and I really hope you all enjoy your time. Thank you. Well done.
Your kisses never wait for. Don't get gone. I'm from the valley, yes, and I'm ready to go.
know that Yvonne has done amazing things today, and it's because of her perseverance and passion that you've all had such a wonderful day. So just join me. All right, here we go. Yeah, go for it. All right, do you want to join me in singing Happy Birthday? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Kathleen. Happy birthday to you.
Hip hip.
It's a question of the odd child or grandchild that gets neglected otherwise. But if it belongs to a big family, there's more support for that child if it feels insecure in any way. Because so many parents are breaking up, and it brings about a sort of insecurity to children. Some feel it more than others, and if they've got belong to a large family, at least they can shift around a bit. That's what I think.
All right. No, don't.
Don't touch your phone. Never mind.
I don't wish, because it's silly to say you wish, but sometimes I'd like to say and believe that I am a Buddhist, that I might be born again, and where I can be born again in the garden and do more. I'd love to get into this and do something with it. My bones don't let me. It's not that it's not in my mind, it's in my mind how much I would love doing it, but my bones don't let me. No. Now I think we've got something else on our hands, is the climate warming, if it should be true. There's interesting times. Always. Yes, you read history. Always. But no more wars. No more wars. Devastating.